And Jason joins us now to react. Jason, welcome. Getting close to Election Day here. Minnesota, key race to watch. And we know that last time around, the president narrowly lost. I mean, we're looking at 1.5 percentage points.
Right.
That's really, really small. So what do you think this time around?
Well, look, I'm in Beltrami County, beautiful Bemidji, Minnesota, and this is where the president arrived yesterday to a roaring crowd. And it's all about greater Minnesota in many ways. It's going all red. It's a microcosm of the entire nation. As the urban core becomes radicalized, the rest of these states are going red. And that's why the president was here for the first time, I believe, in a presidential visit ever in Bemidji, Minnesota. So even Paul Bunyan was impressed.
Paul Bunyan, famously there outside of Bemidji. Jason, thanks for being here. Always, people don't know, you were a longtime radio talk show host in Minnesota. Minnesota's Mr. Right. I grew up listening to your radio program. Half of my political education, for better or for worse. But you're now, what is it about the climate today that puts Minnesota in play and makes President Trump's message resonate so much there?
Well, as I say, I think the left has been radicalized. You had a segment a minute ago about somebody saying Trump supporters should die before the election. I don't think Ruth Bader Ginsburg or Antonin Scalia would ever utter those words. And I think that incivility on the part of the left, the riots, the mobs, and frankly, the eternal lockdowns, it's really hurt greater Minnesota and the suburbs. People just want to engage in commerce, go to church, assemble, go to a backyard barbecue, and they're told they can't. Then all of a sudden, looters and criminals get off scot-free. They abandon the third precinct. And people look around and say, the first duty of government is to protect life and liberty and property. They're not doing that. We got to find someone who will. And certainly the president fills that role. And so do I. And that's why Minnesota's in play. A series of polls has this race in the statistical margin of error. It's a tie. Let's be honest about this. And the enthusiasm gap around Minnesota, where I am, is amazing. It's palpable. You had thousands of people in Bemidji, a small town, last night, and I think Joe Biden had a good crowd of 6 or 7.
Those polls, Jason, that's actually what I want to ask you about. When you take put your finger on the pulse of the state, it does seem Minnesota's at the center point of so many of the issues in this country that are being debated: law and order, middle class economics. But I want to show you the Real Clear Politics poll average right now. It shows Biden at 57 and Trump at 41. What do you make of that?
Yeah. I think that's just a bad media narrative. Polls, in many cases, are fomenting this narrative instead of reflecting the reality. Trafalgar, Morning Consult, Emerson College, our internal poll, all has the race within a couple of points. I think Rasmussen actually had the president up. So it depends on the methodology of the poll, but I believe Hillary Clinton was up by about 11 in 2016, and it came down to 44,000 votes, a point. I don't know how many times these pollsters can be wrong, but they're starting to make the weathermen look accurate. But they're using a narrative, folks. You get a liberal outfit, they take a poll, then they push the poll and say, see, to try to demoralize people or do something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being here, Jason. The next few weeks are going to be interesting, to say the least.
Thank you, Jason.